Welcome to Trading Lounge and the indices, and starting with the S&P on the weekly chart. So we can see we're making new highs on the weekly chart here, and the structure should still continue to take us higher. Obviously, coming into Christmas, we're going to see, Santa may come down the chimney, so to speak, and we'll see a bit of a push up, which we're seeing sort of now. But over that Christmas period, we would sort of expect lower volume and also a sort of a corrective pattern within that particular space. Now, some of this structure here is easy to understand, and some of it's a little bit tricky because of we had the elections, we've had the earnings, and now we're going into Christmas as well. So it's been a bit tricky in this little area here. How's the best way to count this area here? This wave 4 here slightly sort of overlapping this wave 1 here to this degree. It's probably not a good thing. It doesn't seem to sort of affect it here too much, but on some markets it does. So we need to be aware of that. And so we've also been toying. We've had this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and going up for, where's my wave 5 here? It's disappeared. So we'll just copy this one here and put this in here, and that would give us, in this particular count, from 4 here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So because it's a bit of an awkward count in here, we need to be a little bit open-minded and flexible how we see things. The move up here has been going quite slow. Obviously it's picked up in the last session in terms of stocks, and is moving quite nicely. But if let's just assume for a moment this wave 1 here, right? If that is correct, then we'd normally expect wave 3 to be a bit longer than wave 1. Okay, if it's not longer than wave 1, then we could expect this wave 5 here to be shorter than wave 3 here, and then we would need to bring this down into this particular space here. So we're just monitoring this wave 3 here. The other count for this, which we'll also be looking at, we've talked about it a lot, is putting wave 3 up here and wave 4 here. Now, I like this in terms of it gives us a longer wave 3 here, but I don't like the correction that it's giving here as a wave 4 here. If this was the case here, then we just need to count 5 waves up here to get to this wave 5 here, which will bring us a little bit closer in at this particular point. Having this as a wave 4 here is quite sort of interesting, really, because obviously the S&P, and these indices are a bit of a moving average of whatever the constituents that are in those particular things. But we know the driving stocks, like, if you don't mind me bringing across here, Meta Platforms. So we've got a wave 4 here, and we're tracking 5 waves up here. So all I know for sure is that once we've got 5 waves in here, you can just look at the stock video for this. Once we've got the 5 waves here, well, then we're going to have a correction anyway. Do you know what I mean? So then all we need to do is monitor this correction here to see if it's going to be deeper, so if it's a bigger top coming into play here, or we go up again. So at first instance, we won't know what this is here, but as it develops, we'll go, okay, well, that's what it is. So we'll be in the guessing game for a little bit in here, but having wave 4 here and having wave 5 here and counting 5 waves up here is pretty simple. And even on this particular chart here, if we just go into, I think we'd even just go drill right in and pick it up on the 100 here for this one. So just to give you an idea here, because we can compare this against the S&P and the Nasdaq and so on. Obviously with the S&P we're going to include the banks, but 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, quite a clear little count, bit clearer than the S&P and stuff. So we've got 1 and 2 going up for 3, 4 here and 5. Now I could put wave 4 over here as well for that. I can see that needs to push up there, but will that be an ABC and so on? But that will give us wave 3, 4 and 5 to move up here, and then that will give us wave 5 of 5 here. So going from wave 4 to wave 5 here, that will be pretty much what the S&P and the Nasdaq is doing, and even the DAX. The some of the other European markets have got other issues going on, but this is also the same for Amazon here as well. So we've got a wave 4 here, and we're looking for 5 waves up into this particular space here. I won't go in and count that, but I just want to point out that that's the sort of reasoning to have this wave 4 here. But like I said, I don't particularly like it in terms of the correction that it's given here. It's rather sharp. So because of the elections and the earnings and all those sort of things, we've seen the stocks get a bit spiky here and there and throw things around. So it is a little bit of a mystery, the count. But the bigger count with, in terms of the trend to the upside is, we need a wave 4 here and we need a wave 5 to push up here high. So, eventually we'll be up at the 6,500 for this market, and we'll see a classic trading levels pattern across that. So when we look at the markets, we're going to be looking at the markets with either wave 4 or wave 2 in this particular instance here. At the same time, though, it doesn't really matter at this point, because what we'll do is all we need to do is track 5 waves in this move here, and once that's finished, that's going to take us sort of into next week somewhere, and then we're getting pretty close to Christmas at that particular point. I might just go to 50,000 ticks here. So this would be this count here with 1 and 2 here, and going up for wave 3, and we're going to investigate this a little bit here, and then wave 4 and 5 here. So in a bit of a nutshell, there's 2 things that are going on here, right? So one of them is we track from wave 2 here to wave 3. We can go in here, have 5 waves here, and then we could have a top in play. Or we're going to have a little correction here, and then we're going to go up here further to this wave 5 here, and that will be wave 4 at that point. So we need to navigate this one here at that stage, and this one here will definitely take us into Christmas at that time. So we've got one count with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and we'll track those 5 waves in here. Now it is also a little bit messy in this little area here in some of the indices as well. If I just go to the daily chart, which is kind of similar, in this case we've got wave 4 here, and we'll be tracking 5 waves up here and completing at that point. Now I kind of like this top here in a way, because when we're working with large numbers like this, I always tend to see this, not always, but most of the time, we see this pattern here. So if that's the 6,000 here, we've got the arrival, we've got the reaction, and we've got this move up here, which will be 5 waves. And in a lot of cases, this, in Elliott terms, this will be wave 3, 4, and 5 here, and then some sort of ABC correction. Now, of course, this could be wave 1 and 2 pulling back, depending where you are within the larger structure, or it's going to be a wave 4 and take this low out here. But this basically pattern here, so if this is the 6,000 here, and this would be like the Nasdaq at the 21,000, and the other thing too, the Nasdaq comp is coming up to 20,000, so it's going to hit a brick wall there as well. So that's just another little thing that's going to sort of help it out. But we're basically tracking 5 waves. So this first high above the level here is really what we're sort of looking at here. This first high, the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level here, and then we'll see what we get at that point. Like I said, this sharp move here reminds me more of a wave 2 sort of pattern, something sharp here, rather than this lazy wave 4 here, so to speak, So yeah, so all of the above. So let's just go. I'm not sure, I've got lots of charts here that I don't update. This one's this chart here. So this one will be looking at wave 3 coming up here, and wave 4 and wave 5 in this instance, and having that top in here for that. So in this case, we would end up with 3, 4, and 5 here. We already talked about that, but let's just drill in a little bit further. You can see here, I've looked at the stock 50 and some of the other markets, because in this little area here, we've got a bit of overlapping sort of wave structures. It's pretty clean here, but in some markets, it's pretty messy. So I'll go to the 2000, and this particular count here, this has got it as wave 2 here. So as wave 2 here, we would end up with wave 3, 4, and 5 up here. So in this case here, first of all, this wave 1 is is clear as a bell. We've got a nice impulse wave here, no problems. This is where it gets a little bit messy in this area here. right? So you could certainly count this in different ways. I get it, you know. So that is a little bit of an issue. But in this case here, we've got 1 and 2 here, and then basically going all the way up here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at the 6,100, 1 is the strongest number in the market, followed by 5. So it's highly likely at the 100 here, the 6 is not that important, but the 100 here, in terms of psychology, would be a bit of a glass ceiling for some for this market as such. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. We could put a top in there, I think. But anyway, we'll see. But anyway, the point is that we're going to get some type of correction here, and then we'll have wave 5 here. So we could get a classic trading levels pattern at this area through here for the S&P, and then have another move up here. So just to remember, there is a count that has this as the top here, right? So I think I may have that on the 1000 area here. No, don't have that there, but this has just got more detail in it, this particular count. Oh yeah, no, this one's a little bit shorter, but this is slightly different. This gives us I think that's 5 waves in here. I haven't pulled that apart. I could look at this wave 4 here as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 and drag that further up here by the by. But I think Thursday you can expect a bit of a correction to come into place here, and we've got some non-farm payrolls coming in on the Friday as well, and the ADP figures were didn't seem to affect the market, being the private employment figures at 146, which was lower than 152 and the 180 something or other before that as well. So the private employment figures are sort of reducing somewhat, but didn't seem to affect the market today in any way. And in fact, the market enjoyed that, probably because of lower interest rates signaling, signal, spit it out, Pete. Yeah, so this number here is really key here, you know, and then even when we get to this number here, don't go losing money, because this is group 1 above 6,000 and this is group 2 here. So group 2, this will play out because group 2 here so far, this 65, 72 and 80 here, this little area here has already got a consolidation there. So that's going to play out all the way across here, and that's why this is going to be the range for all of this. So just keep that in mind. But this group 1 and group 2 here, you know, you're not going to see trends in this area here. You know, I mean, for scalpers, you know, anything's all bets are open for scalping, but that's that. So I'll leave that at that for the time being. And then we come over to the Nasdaq, and the same thing, I can treat this in the same way, but we're basically just, all I'm really focused on is looking for 5 waves in this move here. Now in this case here, the S&P have got tops coming in a little bit sort of earlier than the Nasdaq, but of course they will top at the same time, and then they'll bring all the other indices into the same fold, you know, within the session. So we're just, doesn't really matter if this is going to be wave 4 here or we're going to put wave 2 over here. And I mean, because I could easily bring this whole pattern here to a much more bullish pattern, you know, but I also know that we're going into Christmas and I can kind of see where stocks are, so I've got to be a little bit careful. But the only thing that we can really do is really look for you know, look for this little wave 1 could be counted in different ways as well here, and wave 2 here. So you can clearly see here, just by me doing this, we haven't seen a wave 4 here yet. You know, there's no wave 4 there, so we still need a wave 4, and then we still need a wave 5 to the upside. So we'll probably end up at the 22 here for that, you know, thereabouts. So this just basically 5 waves pushing to the upside here. I'm not sure what I've updated here. Probably got stuff all over the place. I'll just have a look at 2 here. So we'll have a look at this first. So I just also wanted to have a look at the just before we move on to this. I've been looking at the SPY, the SPY. So this is the wave 1 and 2 here, but this could also be wave 4 here. This is our charting program. So it's got the Elliott wave algo here and AI over here for this as well here. So but in this case we've got 1 and 2, just counting the 5 waves to the upside here. That's all I'm doing on the SPY here because it's a little bit, it's a bit more settled. We've got 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4, and then going up for 5 here as 1, 2, as these little 5 waves here. So we've basically got 1 and 2 here and going up for 3 here. This is wave 3, but at this top here, because when we come over here, you see, we've been tracking this yesterday. We had 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, the fourth, and the fifth wave here for this. So we've got the 5, the fifth of the fifth of the fifth of the third. So we'll be looking for an ABC pattern here, and then we'll be looking for that wave 5. So in this case here for the SPY, we've really just got a correction and then another move to the upside. Now this move to the upside, you can see how long this wave 4 took here. So it's got from the 24th of December all the way over to the 4th of 3rd of December, 3rd, so 2 days over to this point here, if not more. So we'd see probably 2 days here and another 2 days over here. So we'll be taking us into mid next week before we get a top into this particular space at this time. Just want to check on this. That's cool. Okay, so yeah, on the right track here for this. So yeah, so that's the SPY. Back over to the Nasdaq here, and let me just get in some more data here for this. So with the Nasdaq here, this is this. In this case, we got wave 4 here. We could have this as wave 2 over here. Now this move to the upside here, I just want to point out, we've also got overlapping wave structures within here as well. So we can view it as wave 1 and 2 here, and then a smaller wave 1 here, and a smaller wave 2 here. And then we're going up for 3, 4, and 5 up here. So we can go that way, or we could include from this low here, all of this as wave 1 here, and then wave 2 over here for this. And then I'd need to readjust some of this in here, which is not a big deal. So there's a couple of ways to look at this. But one thing is really clear is that we do have all of this is the building process. So this is basically the beginning of the trend. And then over here, we've got the middle of the trend. But we don't have the end of the trend, the beginning, the middle, and the end. So we don't have the end over here yet. So we basically, whichever way you want to look at it, we've got the whole third wave here. We don't see a fourth wave here yet, and we don't see a fifth wave here yet. Okay, so that's kind of a nice sort of shell to understand that. So we're pretty solid in that. There's no ifs or buts about the beginning, the middle, and the end of this particular trend. So this move in the middle here, we've got little 5 waves in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 and 2 in here, then 3 and 4 here, and then going up for 5 here. So we could say that even in this trend here, we could say that we are probably in the latest, heading into the later stages of all of this now. There is another way to label this this 1 and 2 here and 3 here. I need to double check this. It's basically putting this one over here and this one here, and bringing this other little wave 5 down to here to shorten it up a little bit. So that's possible. I need to just double check that. I haven't had time to do that. But my count on the smaller version of this would have that there. So in this count, I've got the wave 3 and 4 here. So in this case, we've got the blue wave 1 and 2 over here, over yonder. Then we've got 1 and 2 here. And then I need to move this up here. So we can look at this little top in here, this top here. I could go from wave 4 here. I can go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and have it up here, this wave 5 up here. Or I could bring this wave 5 over here. I can bring it down to here as well. This top here is 1. So I could have this as wave 3 and 4 here. Not that it's going to make a big difference because well, anyway, we'll see in the next session. But basically, across the 500 here, the 21's not important. We should see an ABC correction across here before pushing up and testing the lower end of group 2 up here. So between 21,000 and 22,000, let me just put that minor level in here. Then between this minor level and this minor level, which is in minor group 1, then we have the Fibonacci sequence 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8 here as sub levels. So subgroup 1, the midpoint here that we're working through here. So at the midpoint, we can expect a correction like this here. There's only really 3 types of corrections. There's this one. This is the second one here where it doesn't drop down below the level, and then this one here where it doesn't stop over here, but eventually it becomes the larger price point here becomes the balance point. So they're just the basic 3 corrections that can occur at the level. So we don't have the last one, we're having the first one because we're reacting from here. So I know that the 500 is important, and you should know that anyway, and second strongest number and all that sort of stuff. So that's sort of really where we are at this stage with the Nasdaq. So coming over to the Russell, and with the Russell, I got to drag it into this primary wave 3 over here no matter what. So I'm looking at this as wave 4 and 5 here to make 5, 5 of 3 here, and then wave 4 over here for this. So look, if you wanted to trade this or the futures market, you can just basically buy new highs through all of this here. So some sort of thing there. This this level here, wherever you've got a picture, a particular thing like this, you'll see this. But you'll see this here now. It may drop below the level, it may not. But basically you can go long above this one and long above the second one on this. So it's just like a normal trading level, like coming through here. This is thing. So anyway, I'll leave that with you. So not a big deal. The DAX. This low here, right, this low here, all of this here can be counted in different ways, okay? I've looked at the stock 50 and looked at others, and I don't really have a clear answer. You could label it wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, but it doesn't really have a lot of common sense to it doing it that way. I could do it the same as the other markets and put wave 1 over here and wave 2 here and put this wave 1 over here and so on here and put wave 2 here. I could do it that way. I can see how that fits. However, the main point here to get hold of is that whichever way you want to look at it, we have the beginning here and then we have the middle of the trend here. We don't have wave 4 and we don't have wave 5 here yet. And then we'll have a correction. So we still need to finish this off here. So as far as I can see here, we've got 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and the fifth wave up here. Now, I don't quite know if... I can see this here as 1 and 2 here, and I could put wave 5 here, but my problem with putting wave 5 here is I don't have a really nice 5-wave structure up here, and then this little move in here is a little bit corrective, so I think we've got a little bit more of a high to come in here to finish that off, and then we'll get the ABC. So I think in the next session we could see something like this, But that's where we are. We still need this 4 and 5 to finish off here. Once this wave 4 is done, we can pick this up here and we can look for a bit of a long trade for scalpers and so on up at that point. But we should see a bigger correction at this level here in due course. 3 here, and then all of this cacophony here as wave 4 here. Now, I understand that this could even get bigger here. You know, I could look at this here. I'm just going to use these ABCs here. I could use this as an A wave here. I could put a B wave over here, and I could put a C wave over here for this wave 4 over here, and make this a bigger wave 4. So this would hit, this here would be an A wave up here, because it's quite nice. There's 5 waves here. So an A wave up here, and then an ABC for the B wave, and up for the C wave here. Even though I've got a B wave there, that would be the C of B here. So no matter what this particular count is, and whichever way you want to sort of look at this, and we can look at these as ones and twos over here as well, like this. You know, there's different ways to look at it. The only way out that I can see that would be nice, and because I always look for safety first, that's my thing. So what I could say is that after this 5 waves finishes up here, right, anything above that 5 waves, then we can go long at that point. But even after these 5 waves here, we're going to get a pullback in here. So we're just tracking the 5 waves up here. It looks like there's 5 waves there already, with 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, 5 up here. I mean, we're coming into these tops. We're going to see that pressure come into play here. We are seeing the pressure come into play here at the moment as well in that space. So anyway, I'm just going to cut straight through to the intraday on the 1000 tick area here, and so this move down here, this low here could be anything. So we're just looking for 5 waves to the upside. So we've got wave 1 here and 2 here. We could have this as an A and a B and a C up here and be done with it as well, by the way, but because of the other markets need to push up a little bit higher, we could do the same. So we can go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's a bit sort of a bit tricky to count this in here, I have to say, but this is the lowest point, so we'll just put it here. We'll put wave 5 here with wave 3, and we're in wave 4 here at the moment. So once wave 4 is finished, then we'll be looking at wave 5 to move up here somewhere. And then once that top's in play here, we're going to get some type of correction, right? We can go long at this point, or we can pick up the first impulse wave here and do all those and build at that point. We could trade up here as well. We'll get some sort of trend because the extension's in wave 3 here. That means that wave 1 and wave 5 will be roughly the same, but that's not a big thing, because when you look at the actual distance here, it's like diddly squat, you know what I mean? So it can just really come into this, may not even reach the 5 up here, but a little bit of news puts a bit of wind in the sails in either direction and so on, so we just need to be a little bit mindful. It does look like we've got 5 waves down to this point here, and this would be 1 and 2 here, so I still feel we need to come down here a little bit further, and in coming down here, this 300 here is going to play out as a really strong support, so you're going to start to see that support coming in. The wave 4 of 1 lesser degree is here, so that wave 4 could pull back to that area, and the 38.2% just a little bit lower here. It doesn't have to pull back to any of these, and I probably imagine that it won't. It'll probably make me wrong as well, but there's a lot of support here, and so this 3 here may dip below it, but there will be a lot of support here. I wouldn't get involved in that. If you're going to trade that to the upside, we need the first little impulse wave to the upside. We come over to the Australian market, and I want to kind of do the same thing with the Australian market. There's 2 ways to do the Australian market. We can tie it in with the rest of the world, or we can tie it into our banking, into our finance sector. So there's 2 ways to count it. Some of this is a little bit messy, but if we have wave 3 and 4 here like the other markets, then we can look at this as 1 and 2 here. I could look at wave 3 to be top in here, and then wave 4 at the moment, and then going up for wave 5. That would sort of put us pretty close to what's going on, and in a bit of a sense we'd be seeing the arrival at the 500 here, some sort of correction, and then the first high above the level. How high that goes is we should see 5 waves in that move, and then we're going to have some sort of correction here. Now we could have a big correction, or we could have a small correction, I don't know, but we can just go long on this point at this stage. So if this is a wave 3 up here, then this wave 4 will be a reasonable size at that stage. So the idea is to try to figure out this particular count coming into play here. So if we look at this November low here, October, November, let's just bring this charting program back up. Let me just How do we get in here? This one, indices, Australian here. I want to go to the finance sector here, the XXJ. There's other ones, but this has been the old original one. I just want to go into 15 minutes. Would that do it here? Yeah, so this is the November low here. So I'm thinking 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the top of the third here. Now this is interesting, because what happens here is that on the XJO, this pullback here looks like it was in 5 waves here, right? So that looks also in 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that could be here, 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 and here for that, or it could be just quite sort of a flat C wave here, and then just sort of move up from here. But the interesting thing is that this high here hasn't taken out the high here, but on the XJO it has here. Okay, so that's what we're going to see. But this you know, the financials basically control the ASX 200. There's just more volume that gets taken over into that. So we're somewhere around here, and obviously this market is being sort of settled in at this number 1 here. So it's really sticking to that, but we should expect another high to come in. So it's just how you want to see this correction come into play. So yeah, this wave 3 here has started this wave 4 correction off, and it's below. This is still below this top here, where the ASX is above that top. So this is a little bit different here. So let me just go in here. I'll just check on a few, you know, because yeah. So this is one way to count it to the upside, is to put this wave 3 in here already. And that would be in line with the banking sector. So this high here was the banking sector here. So we've got wave 3 in the banking sector here. So, you know, we could be a little bit off. It's okay. This, if I put this doesn't really, from this point here all the way up to here, doesn't really give me 5 waves at this point. And there's a lot of overlapping wave structures coming in here now. So that's why I put this here. If I want to have a look at the US markets, then I'll put this wave 3 up here and this wave 4 here for this. And in that case, if this was the case here, then we'll be looking for 5 waves up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then have this wave 3, 4, and 5. And that's the US market. So we're not far off the US market. So it just depends on how we're going to be pulled around by these, you know, by these markets. So yeah. I can count that as 5 waves up here, and then a correction here. I can count this as 5 waves up here. It's a little bit tricky, but it's doable. But then I've got this overlapping wave structure here. I mean, normally I'd look at this as being really bullish, because I'd be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and would be going up there. We also need to remember that we're at this 500 here. So that's really sort of, while that banking sector's at 10,000, this is at the 500 here. So really we're getting a bit of a classic trading levels pattern here as well for this, you know. So even if we did see a push up here, I think it's going to, if we do see, because the stocks are quite strong at the moment, if we do see a bit of a push up here, we can expect this to come back here before seeing another move up here. And this move up here as wave 5 here won't be that long, because it will be something the same length as this wave 1 over here. It's possible to put this wave 1 over here as well. I have this as wave 2 here, by the way. Yeah, just looking around, I felt this is the best move so far in this. So yeah, we're at this 500, so the market's not going to go very far either way, you know. I'll just have a look at the 2000. Yeah, it's the same thing here. Let's have a look at the 1000. Okay, so this is the probable count here. With we've got a little impulse wave up here, so we could go 3, 4, and 5, and I wouldn't expect too much from it, okay, at all, because coming into this, we've got this high here, we've got this number here, and it'll be something like this. It's so this would be looking at it as wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but obviously we've got an overlap here for this as well here. So there's a lot of issues about all of this. All I can say being a bit philosophical about it, is that we've hit 500 here, and because we've reacted about it from this number, any move up here will also now be pulled back down here. It's basically, we're going through the basic pattern here, this here. So we're in this reaction from this level here. So we're in this here. So yes, where we are, and I just don't see any good trading here. I mean, I wouldn't trade it myself. I wouldn't be trading around this large number. For me, I wait for this. I wait for all the psychology and everything to basically empty themselves out here. And when it's all finished and done, and I can see we're ready to move off, then I become interested in it. I wouldn't be interested in any of this here. I just see this as trouble waiting to happen here. So just be a little bit mindful of that. Alrighty, I'll leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.